Hey up, it's Steve, an old Yorkshire geek, and welcome to this magnificent Monday's Easter special. So happy Easter for all you Christians out there, and even if you're not a Christian, happy Easter. So we're doing a special one where we're going to look at King of Kings from 1961, a biblical epic about Jesus. It's not really about Jesus. It's called King of Kings, and obviously it is about Jesus, but the film kind of focuses more on it's not like, what's the word? Periphery characters like Barabbas and Lucius and people like that. But anywho, that's what we're going to be doing. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, and share the videos, and drop a comment, and hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Let's make sure we are live. We should be live on YouTube. Yes, we are. We should be live on Rumble. He says. Give it a moment. Are we? Yes, we are live on Rumble. And we should be live on Twitch. Yes, we're live on Twitch. Right. So, and explore the description for... Where are we? There we go. Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and my books and all that stuff. And become a member and get exclusive videos and early access videos and all that malarkey. Right. King of Kings. Off we go. From 1961. Directed by Nicholas Ray, who's... he's done another famous film and I forgot what it was. I'm blanking. I looked it up and I can't bloody remember. Rebel Without a Cause, that's it. That's the other famous film he did. His most famous film. Produced by Samuel Bronston, stars Jeffrey Hunter, Siobhan McKenna, Herd Hatfield, Ron Randall, Vivica Lynn-Fors, Rita Gam, Carmen Sevilla, Bridget Bazian, Harry Gardino, Rip Torn. You know what? I watched this yesterday, and I didn't notice Rip Torn in it. Who did he play? I don't know. Frank Thring, who you know when you see him. Guy Rolfe, Maurice Marzak, Gregoire Aslan, cool name, and Robert Ryan. And a narration by Orson Welles, and also there's Ray Milland in there doing the voice of the devil, or the voice of Satan, or whatever you want to call it. What else? At a budget of $7 to $8.5 million, at a box office of $13 million, so it did okay. It did okay way back when. Right, so we'll get on with it, shall we? We'll not just play the film, because we're not doing. I'm just talking about it. I do have minor notes. As I said, I watched it yesterday. It's quite a long one. It's a film that has an intermission as well, which is cool. But we'll get to that. But we're going to watch it in a series of stills. I'll try and make up facts about it. You know what I'm like. Right, so off we go. I shall do that and then pop myself down in the corner and we'll get on with it, shall we? Right, off we go. I do like a biblical epic. I'm not a particularly religious person. I know I'm doing this as an Easter special, but I'm not a particularly religious person. But I am interested in this sort of thing. And I do find that biblical stories fascinating, but I don't go to church or anything like that. I'm not particularly religious. But anywho, right, so off we go. It begins with an overture. They should bring these back as well. We want overtures and intermissions in films. And at the end, it says exit music. We need that as well. But we'll have a little listen. Not the best bit to listen to. It does go on for a bit, I must admit. Oscar-nominated music, I think. I think we're nominated. It might have won. I don't know. I can't remember. But I think we're nominated for an Oscar by Miklos Rosa, who would also be nominated for Ben-Hur. I think he won for that as well. But anyway, so we've got his overture here. So we'll skip through this. I don't know how long it goes on for. Be about 3 minutes, won't it? Something like that. Oh, yes. Off we go. Then we get the opening credits. Look at those colours, sumptuous colours. They don't make films like this anymore, do they? Going through the credits, but look at those colours. 70mm Technorama. Right. Why were all the credits were all overlaid over one another? Just the way it happened. Right. So we begin. We're beginning 60 something BC. I think 63 BC. I think it says we get an opening narration from Orson Welles, written by Ray Bradbury. 63 BC. There we go. And it's about the Romans annexing Judea as part of the Roman Republic, as it was then. They do mention empire, but in 63 BC it was a republic, wasn't it? It didn't become an empire technically until 14 BC when Augustus Caesar was crowned emperor. Right. Anyway, so we learn now about how cruel the Romans are and that they subjugate the population. Here we see, I think it's Pompey, the Roman general Pompey is coming in with his. I'm thinking these are all auxiliary soldiers because you don't see many Roman legionary, the big rectangular shields. Maybe they didn't have them then. Anyway, a lot of sets built for this film, full size sets too. Although they do look a little bit cardboardy, I must admit, in some of them like this. Looks like a strong gust of wind to blow that over, but anyway, never mind. 396 sets were built for this movie. Let me check. Yes, 396, and there were just under 6 months of principal photography. But anyway, these are the Romans coming and taking Jerusalem. There's the temple. Again, another full-size set. Cool stuff. And Pompey's going to go in. He's going to go into the Holy of Holies and basically just barge his way in. The priests, they can't do anything to stop them. Their most sacred ground, going where no pagan had gone previously. Oh, and he has. Hang on, have I missed it? No, it's coming up to it, isn't it? As the priests killed, look, fire spears at him. Oh dear, yelling and groaning. So in he goes into the Holy of Holies. This will have been where originally the Ark of the Covenant would have been. But obviously, it's not there anymore because it disappeared, didn't it? For Indiana Jones to find at a later date. Anyway, there you go. It goes in and finds a scroll, which is I think it's supposed to be the mosaic. What I forgot what we call it now. I'm blanking again. The words of Moses, basically, mosaic scripture. Anyway. And you think he's going to burn it on this fire here, this altar fire here. You think he's going to burn it, but he doesn't. He hands it to this priest. There he goes. And off they go. Maybe to Masada, even though that hasn't been built yet by this time, has it? I think Masada were built by Herod, wasn't it? After this. But anyway, so it's showing now, Rome subjugated Judea. There we go. And they're not building a pyramid there. That's a quarry. And Justin 34 is here saying, Happy Easter to you, good sir, and the family. And you too. You too. Hope you've had a nice day. I've done nothing today. I was going to have a walk to the supermarket today until I found out it was closed. And I actually, out loud, I said, good for you, because I was expecting the supermarket to be open. You know what they're like these days. But they were closed. So I didn't go. There's Gregoire Aslan as Herod. I think we've skipped forward now. I think to roundabout. I think roundabout the birth of Christ, because he's playing Herod. Excuse me. And here it says, look, so Caesar named one Herod the Great, an Arab of the Bedouin tribe. I don't know if that's true or not, to be completely honest. Justin says, the family's now going to eat. Go and eat. Go and eat something nice. We've had KFC. KFC's been open. Anyway, I'm just saying, I don't know if he was of the Bedouin tribe. He was from Eastern, from from Jordan, that area. But he was Jewish. He was Jewish with Herod, or raised as a Jew at least. But anyway, so is a puppet king. The governor, the Roman governor, is the real power, isn't he? But he's a puppet king. Keeps his own people in check. That's what he's for. And there he is, watching people being crucified. It says actually, I think it does say, Something about crosses. There we go. Roman crosses grew high on Jerusalem's hills, and it shows them. And they're not crosses, they're big T's, aren't they? Why didn't they make crosses? I have no idea. But of people being crucified, and then bodies being ceremoniously or unceremoniously dumped. Meanwhile, Joseph and Mary are heading to Bethlehem to be taxed. It says. I thought it was a census that they were going to Bethlehem for. Don't know. Maybe the Gospel's a bit vague about that. And we see that Bethlehem is a hive of scum and villainy. It seems, and everybody's fighting. It's because of the Romans, you know. What have the Romans ever done for us? Anyway, so there's no room at the inn, obviously, so they're going to shove them in a stable. So off they go into the stable. Meanwhile, the three wise men are on the way, following the star. Look. Now then, did they set off weeks in advance? Because they've come from the east, haven't they? They've come from like Mesopotamia, somewhere like that. They've come from the east. I'm guessing it took them a while to get to Bethlehem. So did they set off way in advance of Jesus being born? Or were Joseph and Mary and Jesus just hanging about in that stable for several weeks? I don't know. But, whatever. So it shows them arrive. And they are named Casper, Balthazar, and Melchior, isn't it? Am I right? Is it going to say? Or is it... have we gone past that bit? I want to know if I'm right now, because I'm going off memory. As I said, I'm not particularly religious. Oh, for Pete's sake. Three wise men came from the east. There we go. Caspar, Melchior, Balthazar. Yay! I should go into seminary. Anyway, so they're here. They bring their gold, frankincense, and myrrh and stuff like that. They're a bit miffed at first. So I think they do say, the King of Kings is born in a stable. But anyway, they give the gifts. Meanwhile, Joanne Cohen is in the next stable over giving birth to Brian, isn't she? Anyway, there's... where are we? I've missed her again. Where is she? There she is. There's Siobhan McKenna as Mary. They wanted somebody else to play Mary, and I've forgotten who. Is it in my notes? Hang on, let me check the notes. Hey, who did they want to play Mary? I've seen it somewhere, but she didn't want to do it for some reason. Where are we? Oh, I've seen it somewhere and I can't find it now. Where are we? I'll do a Control F for Mary. But not that Mary. Oh, maybe it's on the Wikipedia then. Maybe it's on the Wikipedia. Casting. No, we're in... Oh, there we go. Yes, Grace Kelly. That was it. Why couldn't I remember that? Grace Kelly turned down the offer to portray Mary. I wonder why. And it went to Siobhan McKenna instead. Right, so... and there's little baby Jesus there, in his swaddling clothes. Joseph looking very serious. Does he know he's not the dad? I've always wondered that. Did she tell him? Anyway. Right, so this is Herod being told about the talk in the land. This is Lucius, who's like, I don't know if he's like tribune or something like that. He's a high-ranking Roman soldier. Telling Herod, that the talk of the land is that the King of the Jews has been born, the Messiah, and meat and all that stuff. So he orders, does Herod. By the way, this is Frank Thring. So you know his face. I think he played Pontius Pilate in Ben-Hur, or one of the others. I think it was Ben-Hur. He played Pontius Pilate in that, and he's got a very distinctive face and voice. He's got a bit of a speech impediment. He talks like that a bit. But it's a great actor. He's amazing. He plays Herod Antipas, one of Herod's three sons. He had three sons, didn't he? Herod Antipas, Herod something else, which I can't remember, and Philip. I thought, why did you give the call Herod? You called me Philip. I don't know, but anyway. Right, so this is where he orders all newborn children in Bethlehem are to be, put to the sword. And Lucius says, I'm a Roman soldier. I do not murder innocent children. And he says, well, you will follow your orders. Caesar has put me in charge of this land. And so off he goes. There you go. You are my service by command of Caesar. So off he goes. So off they go, murdering all the newborn kids in Bethlehem. A surprisingly large amount of newborn babies in Bethlehem for some reason at this time. But before that happens, Joseph hears voices telling him to get his family out of there. They have to go to Egypt, which they do. Stay there for a really long time. But there you go. So off they go to Egypt. Just in the nick of time. Look, they just get out of there just in time. Meanwhile, the Roman soldiers are getting the babies and killing them. There we go. Poor babies, look. Oh, poor little babies. Slaughtering the innocents of Bethlehem. A lot of newborn babies for some reason. Why? Are newborn babies just being born all the time? Or is Christmas just, a good time for... I know it's not Christmas. A good time for newborn babies in Bethlehem. But anyway, so that happens. Meanwhile, Herod is taken ill. I don't know if this is the same time or if it's some time after. I don't know. But he's taken ill and he can't breathe. And Herod Antipas just watches and he goes and sits on his throne. He does all the dramatic flourishes in a minute. Says, help me, I cannot breathe. And he goes and sits on his father's throne. He's going to do a dramatic flourish now. Are you ready? I shall sit on your throne. Like that. And he says to his dad, because he says, help me to my throne. And he says, a king who cannot walk to his own throne is no king. Although he says it because he's got a speech impediment. He's no king. That's how he says it. In a minute.
A king who cannot walk to his own throne is no longer a king, Father.
I shouldn't mock. Because he's a great actor. He's one of my favourites. I love Frank Thring. I think he's great. So, by the way, there's no historical evidence that this actually happened. This is just for the film. Herod did die. I think he had the putrefying disease. I think that's what it says in the ancient records. He had a putrefying disease. And he did die. And the kingdom was split up between his three sons. It became what would we call it? A tetrarchy, whatever they call it. And it split up between his three sons. And one of his sons was rubbish. And Caesar took that land from him and gave it to Herod Antipas. And then there were two sons ruling Judea. But Herod Antipas ruled most of it, apparently. But anyway, so he just pushes his father away. Look, his father dies. So there we go. They're kind of saying Herod Antipas murdered his father or just, didn't help him. But there's no evidence that actually happened. But anyway. Right, so 12 years later, they spent a long time in Egypt, I don't know why, but 12 years later, they come back, there's Mary and Joseph and 12-year-old Jesus. They come to Nazareth. And they've set up shop because he's a carpenter, it's Joseph, and here comes a chap who needs some carpentry done. All saying peace be with you and all that stuff. And for some reason, he looks at his son. I'm guessing that's him. That's young Jesus. And he says, "Is he good at carpentry?" He says, "Yes, he's very good." He said, "He should get out and see the world." And she says, "Yeah, he's going to rule the world because he's the Son of God." No, she doesn't say that, but that's what I'm saying. Right, so meanwhile, this is Lucius has arrived again on official business, just basically doing some documenting, and they're saying, saying who they are, that they're from Bethlehem and all that. And there, Jesus looking very blonde. Has he got blue eyes? Open your eyes, lad. Not showing his eyes, is it? He's got very blue eyes when he's grown up. But there we go. Saying it's from Bethlehem. And he's kind of suspicious now. Because Lucius is kind of a goodie in this film. He's a bit like, I don't know, is it Saul who becomes Paul? He's one of those Roman soldiers who you think, he's going to end up being a Christian. But I don't think it shows that in the film. But he's kind of, I don't know, he's not a baddie. Let's put it that way. He's not like the others. Anyway, so he says, and they say he's not the son is not registered. That's what he says. He's not on the list. And they said, an oversight. So he lets them off basically. Right, another 20 years go by. So Jesus is 32 now, so we're getting to the critical time, aren't we, for Jesus? They've got Barabbas and his band of rebels are out doing rebel stuff, and there he is. There's Barabbas, played by Harry Gardino. That's Judas Iscariot. Who plays him? When I first saw it, I thought, is that Laurence Olivier? Don't he look? I think he looks like Laurence Olivier. Who plays Judas Iscariot? I can't remember. Where's the cast list? Where are you? Oh, that's Rip Torn. All right. I didn't know. It's Rip Torn. Doesn't look like. That's not the fella from Men in Black, is it? And Beastmaster. That's Rip Torn. Crikey. I would never have known. I'm shocked. Anyway, there we go. So I've been looking at Rip Torn all the way through the film and not realised it was him. It looks like Laurence Olivier. Anyway, so he's going to, start fighting the Romans and all that stuff. So have some good battle scenes and all that. Again, there's no, I don't know why, there's no them rectangular Roman legionary shields. They've all either round shields or other. That's what I'm thinking. Are they auxiliary soldiers, not part of the mainline Roman legion? But anyway, I don't know. But what's going on up there? There's a cross up there. Is that somebody's head? Or is it a god? I don't know. But here we go. So they're going to be fighting. I think this is this is Pontius Pilate on his way. Pontius Pilate has been assigned to be the governor of Judea. He's on his way. That's Pontius Pilate, played by, I'll tell you in a minute because I can never remember names. Herd Hatfield, who I've never heard of. What's he been in? Let's have a look. What's he been in? Picture of Dorian Gray from 1945. We're in that. Joan of Arc from 48. What else? We're in El Cid in the same year as this one. Oh, right, so various. Been in various stuff which I've not seen. I say the name doesn't ring a bell. Apparently, Peter Cushing were up for the role. It'd been amazing as Pontius Pilate with Peter Cushing, but didn't get it. And I think Richard Burton, I think, were also offered the role. Oh, let me check. I think that's in my notes. Is it? No, it's James Mason, not Richard Burton. James Mason. Turned down the role of Pontius Pilate in the film. He later played Joseph of Arimathea in the TV miniseries Jesus of Nazareth. I remember that when I was a kid. Never seen it since. Right. Well, where's that gone? What happened then? Right, so here we go. They're gonna get attacked now. See, they're arresting, and we're going to see Pontius Pilate's wife, Claudia. I'm blanking. Is it? Where are we? Crack, I'm right. Claudia Procula, played by Vivica Lindfors. We can see her in a minute, but they're getting a drinky poos. Here she is. I think. Yes, there she is. Vivica Lindfors. You may know, if you're a genre person like me, a bit of a geek. She played Catherine Langford, the old Catherine Langford, in the original Stargate movie. She's also in Creepshow, the first Creepshow film in the Father's Day segment. So there we go. I want my cake. That one. So there she is. Obviously being younger. And she's kind of on Jesus' side a bit in this film as well. Right, so let's say they're on their way to Jerusalem. But while they're resting, the rebels attack. Is this Herod Antipas and Lucius riding out? Oh, they're riding out as well. They're riding out to meet them. They haven't got there yet. There's Robert Ryan as John the Baptist, who's baptizing people. And there's talk that he could be the Messiah, but he himself says he's not the Messiah, and somebody else will come after him, and all that. There's Salome. She is in this film. She's Herod's stepdaughter, and there's also hints of incest going on. Anyway, because apparently Herod Antipas married his brother's wife, so maybe it was his brother that were rubbish that got killed, and Herod kind of inherited his wife. Herod Antipas inherited his wife and daughter. Anyway, so they're going off to meet those, but before that happens, there we go, an attack by rebels. Are the zealots? I don't know, but the rebels, led by Barabbas. So we've got a bit of fighting going on, all fun and games. Look, those weird, not quite Roman shields. Did I miss the Orion slave girl scene? No, that is to come later, and that's what I thought when I watched it. Even the music is almost the same. We'll get there. No, that's way into the film. Is that? Only at the beginning. It could be in a while. It's a long film, but there we go. Lots of fighting going on. We'll skip through this. Look, bit of swordiness and all that stuff. But like I said, they've got to retreat because Lucius and all that are on the way. There we go. Oh, that's got Lucius there, but I think Barabbas might get captured here, or is it later on? No, it's later on when Barabbas gets captured. There we go. Bit of sliding down a hill. Ooh, that makes me cringe, especially in a skirt. But anywho. Yeah, I think he's escaped by the skin of his teeth. Don't roll that down the hill. I wouldn't stand downhill from that just in case. And happy Easter to you too, Wingrace. Did you have any Easter eggs? We haven't had any this year. Didn't get any. Anyway. And there's Vivica Lindfors. Many years before she discovered that the thing of Ra, the Eye of Ra, where the Stargate was found. Anyway, right, so we're back with John the Baptist, who's baptizing people, and here goes, Jesus is here. There he is, Captain Pike himself, Jeffrey Hunter, the blue-eyed Jesus. Apparently there were big hoo-ha when the film came out because he had blue eyes, and the often focus on his eyes when he's doing his miracles and all that, and his bright blue eyes. Why didn't he wear contact lenses? Because Jesus had blue eyes. With the price of eggs over here, no, sir. I thought President Trump had lowered the price of eggs. Are they still high? Anyway, so Jesus gets baptized. And I think he says, "This is the man who will come after me," or something like that. Then, "Whoa, I am Jesus." So off he goes. Right, so later that day, I'm guessing, John the Baptist, he were related to Jesus, wasn't he, in the Bible? Were his cousin? I think he was his cousin, wasn't he? Keeping it in the family. He goes to visit Mary. There she is, and saying, Jesus is this cool fella, etc. Basically, he is going to be the Messiah, and all that. He says, I know very well what he's going to be. Because he come to see Jesus, and he says, no, he's gone out into the wilderness. So that's what he's doing now. It is 40 days and 40 nights out in the wilderness, where the devil tempts him. And so this is where we hear Ray Milland's voice as the devil tempting him. Come, I command you. There you go. If you are the Son of God, do miracles and all this stuff. But he eats from a cactus, which there are no cactuses apparently. In the Middle East, they're an American thing. There's not even any. I don't think there's even any cactuses in Spain. This was filmed in Spain, by the way. Did I say earlier on? It's filmed entirely in Spain, in and around Madrid. So they've obviously imported a cactus. But anyway, they obviously needed some plant that's got a lot of water in it. But anyway, So there he is, and there's he's offering him the kingdoms of the world to rule as your own and all that. So the temptations, obviously, he doesn't give in, and he thinks, right, I'm going back home. Anyway, so off he goes back home. I have completed the task. Didn't he make a cannon with bamboo and sulphur? No, that were Kirk. That were Kirk, not Pike. Anyway, right. So here he goes. They're gonna meet with John the Baptist, and he's gonna start assembling his apostles, or as Orson Welles calls them, apostles. Apparently, he insisted on sounding out the T in apostles. Apostles. I never noticed. I've just read it online. I never noticed when I was listening. Let's have a listen. See if it says it. Hang on. Jesus took himself down by the Sea of Galilee. I'm looking for the word. There we go. Right. So let's have a listen. See if he says apostle.
And there did name his third apostle.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? His third apostle. Oh dear. Good old Orson Welles, eh? Now then, why did he call Simon Peter? Is it that one? You are Simon that shall be called Peter. Is it that one? You're being chosen. Does he say that? There we go. You should be called Peter the Rock. I thought, I want to be called Simon. That's my name. No, there's another Peter. We don't want to confuse people. All my apostles have got to have different names. So you're Peter. Oh no, there is another Peter. So we've got two Peters now. So it is confusing, isn't it? Anyway, whatever. So he's assembling his apostles. There's Lucius. With his chests and all that. Oh no, this is Pontius Pilate, isn't he? Asking where his chests are. Got a big coin there, isn't he? I wonder how much that's worth. Tiberius is the emperor, by the way, which is who we see there. The TI there, Tiberius Caesar. I don't know, divine something. Augustus, isn't it? Something. I don't know. I don't speak Latin. Right, so that's what it's for. It's put up on the temple to show that Rome is in charge. Right, so anyway, they're having a good old shindig. It's not an orgy; they're just having some grub. I think they're talking about John the Baptist here. It's not. This isn't the Star Trek bit yet. The slave girl dance. It's not that bit yet. But the saying is causing trouble is John the Baptist, and I think Jesus is starting as well. He's starting his ministries, and it's bothering the leaders, the what is it, the Pharisees, and the Romans as well. But there's nothing they can do because they've not broken any laws. There's Salome. Here is John the Baptist, and say, get out of our country. And say, no, here, have some money, bugger off. And say, no, throws it back. Anyway, so they've got to, arrest them and all that, which they don't do yet. Anyway, so off we go. Hey. That's where we learn that Salome doesn't like him. It'd be better to cut his vicious tongue from its roots, she says, because she's vicious. For some reason, she doesn't like him, does she, for some reason? By the way, I don't think she was called Salome in the Bible, was she? That's from other accounts, isn't it? Anyway. Ian's saying, look, is that John the Baptist having a go at Herod Antipas, saying that he lives in incestuous lust with his brother's wife and all that. Anyway. So I think they throw him in prison. She wants his head. Meanwhile, Jesus is out doing his miracles. He's going to, cure this. The cripples are going to. Can I say that? What does it say? Jesus put forth his hand and cleansed those who were vexed with unclean spirits or, ill. There we go. So it makes him better. Cool. I don't know if it shows him doing Lazarus. I don't think it does. But he makes this blind man see. You see a blind man with his cataract eyes. His Darth Vader shadow, and his shadow passes over his eyes, and we see his blue eyes doing stuff. Because he's Jesus. There we go. His eyes are back to normal. I can see. I'm guessing his other eyes fine as well. So there we go. I'm just thinking of the life of Brian. That's all that's going through my head. This Jesus comes along, you're cured, mate. Not so much a bird by your leave. Anyway, Barabbas, he doesn't believe in Jesus, but Judas Iscariot, I think Barabbas is his brother. I don't know if he was in real life. I don't know, but I think in this Barabbas is his brother, or at least some relation. And he's saying, I still can't believe that's ripped on, but anyway, he's saying that Jesus is this amazing guy, is this fella that's doing these amazing things and miracles, and he can help us. But says we don't need any help. But he says, come and listen to him. And here we go. Lots of split diopters in this film, but they're quite well done, I must admit. That one's not too bad. So, they come across Mary Magdalene because she's in, I don't know how she was described in the Bible, but it's generally thought that she was like, a harlot, but she wasn't. If you're into Dan Brown and stuff like that, she became Jesus' wife, did Mary Magdalene, didn't she? And it didn't get crucified. They buggered off to France, didn't they, and had a kid and all that. Read the Da Vinci Code. Anyway, they founded the Merovingian line of French royalty, didn't they? Or something. Because they're going to stone her anyway, and that's where he does his, he who is without sin, cast the first stone. So all right, we won't bother. So there we go. Who plays Mary Magdalene? Because she's well fit, I'm sorry, but she is. Carmen Sevilla, I'm guessing she's a Spanish actress. Yes. A good choice. Right, so she kind of becomes part of his travelling band of religious people. Anyway, and Judas, I think he's wanting to join up as well. Jesus has gone to see Lucius. No, he wants to speak to John the Baptist. That's it. So I want to speak to him. Lucius says, "Oh, you can't speak to him. Go away." But he kind of uses his "I am Jesus" powers and says, "No, I'm going to speak to him." So he goes like, "Okay, then you can speak to him." But anyway, so he goes and speaks to John the Baptist, and he touches him, and he's all because it's Jesus, but he doesn't set him free. Right, so where we're coming up to now? Yes, the man that's possessed by demons, or he's just crazy or whatever, but he's all slavering. There he is, all slavering and being crazy. But Jesus cures him, and there we go. So now that's nice. Meanwhile, there's Mary, his mother. I think that's Mary Magdalene. I think that's she's gone to see her as well. I think she's gone. What she said? She wants him to. She wants Jesus to do something about. I think it's about John the Baptist. I think to get him, to get him freed or something of that nature. But anyway, anywho, what's happening now? Lucius is offering his report to Herod and the Pharisees about what Jesus is up to, and he's basically saying he's doing miracles and he's speaking of peace and all this stuff, and he's not doing anything wrong really. Excuse me. But they don't like what he's doing because the people are on his side and he's a threat to them, isn't he? So anyway, telling him all about it. He's gathering his band of disciples, or apostles, as Orson Welles would say. But they're telling about the miracles. Is this the one where he says he brought a man back from the dead? Oh no, it's talking about he walked across the Sea of Galilee, because he did that. He walked on water, didn't he? Walked across the Sea of Galilee, and a storm came, raised his hand, and the storm abated, and all that stuff. But it doesn't show that. It just tells us about it, because they obviously couldn't afford the effects for that. It's not a Cecil B. DeMille production, is this one? Anyway. But it's showing that he's getting more popular as Jesus, and his fame is spreading. It's where John the Baptist says that he says to Lucius, "You have treated me well," even though he's in shackles and all that. But he says, you've treated. He's obviously not torturing him around that. This is where we learn Lucius is kind of coming round to Jesus' way of thinking. But anyway, there he goes, loosening the shackles. Meanwhile, Salome's there. Is this the dancing bit? I think it is, because she's now got the mother. I can't remember. Herodias, is that her name? Herodias. Yes, it is. Played by Rita Gam. He's saying, "You're always looking at my daughter." She says, "You're jealous." That's how he speaks. I'm sorry, I shouldn't mock him. Anyway, so he says, "Dance for me." There he goes saying, "Salome." Listen to how he says it.
Taste this.
Sorry, taste this. But he wants her to dance for him. He says, "I'm not dancing for you." He says, "Well, dance. I will give you anything you want." They go, "I command you to dance, and I'll give you anything you want." He says, "Right, okay then. Do you swear?" "Yes, I swear." So she does a dance. So we're doing the old whatchamacallit, the Orion slave girl scene. This is Wingrace's favourite bit. In a minute. There we go. There we go. It's almost exactly the same, isn't it? Did Miklos Rozsa do the music for season 1 for the cage of Star Trek? Anyway, so she does a dance, and then she says, what she wants is the head of John the Baptist. That's what she wants, on a silver platter, or just on the platter. Showing her with another split diopter use, showing, I'm guessing it's either fella that's going to go and cut off John the Baptist's head. It looks that sort, doesn't it? That's what she says. It just looks a bit. Is it me, or does she look a little bit like a young Elizabeth Taylor? Why does everybody in this film look like other people? But anyway, never mind. So that's. He says, "No, anything else, but no, I want the head of John the Baptist." So that's what she's gonna get. So he's gonna get his head chopped off. Anyway, so here we go. Here it comes. I don't know if it actually shows his head on the platter. I can't remember. I think I missed this bit. There we go. Oh, there goes the sword. I wonder who plays him. I don't know. But he's got glowing eyes. Looks like Goa'uld, doesn't he, with them eyes? But I don't know if it shows his head on the platter. I don't know. Anyway, now there's some suggestion that Jesus is like a not the reincarnation, because they're around at the same time, but another form of John the Baptist or something. But anyway, right. So I think we're gonna have the feeding of the 5,000 going on. Here we go. The Sermon on the Mount is taking place. So it's like the Woodstock of the time, isn't it? Where everybody's gathering. And there we go. Vivica Lindfors. Claudia has arrived. She's interested. I think Lucius is there as well. But there's Jesus waiting. Another split diopter, although tastefully done. But it's a bit obvious, isn't it? I don't like split diopters. Just you don't have to have everything in focus. Anyway, it says, look, Jesus is saying, Jesus, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, it's curtain call. And I'm not blaspheming, I'm just trying to put a bit of levity into it. So this is where he does his Sermon on the Mount, the blessed are the peacemakers and all that stuff. The meek shall inherit the earth, etc. All that stuff. Because they're asking him questions. Yours is the kingdom of heaven, and prove who you are. And he says, I can't, whatever. And then he does the Lord's Prayer, doesn't he, in a moment. So it says the Sermon on the Mount. And he's speaking of peace, obviously, love thy neighbour, etc., and all that stuff. And then he does the Lord's Prayer, doesn't he? But it's the Protestant version of the Lord's Prayer that he says in this. What's that? Is this Barabbas or somebody or one of those that if you can do miracles, call upon. No, it's not Barabbas, is it? Call upon God to send hosts to destroy the Romans and free our people from bondage. He says, "Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God." Basically, don't ask God to do stuff that you can't do for yourself. Basically. Anyway, so right, so he's going to do the Lord's Prayer any minute now. Because he's doing all this sermon in. Here we go. Those doing the Lord's Prayer now. Thou, Father, who art in heaven, etc., and all that stuff. But there we go. Now we get to the. Here we go. Lead us not into, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And I think that's how the the Catholic Lord's Prayer ends, isn't it? They just say Amen then. For thine is the kingdom. Amen. Then the Protestants added, and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Because those Protestants, we've got to just, hype it up even more. He may have said that for all we know. Anyway, so that's a good gig. So off they go. Meanwhile, they're having did saunas exist back then? They must have done. It's not just a baths, is it? It's a sauna, isn't it? Hot coals or hot rocks or whatever. Anyway, so this reporting back is Lucius saying he's just speaking of peace. This is one of the Pharisees who's got a weird name, Caiaphas or something. Who's says, there you go. He's a threat. He's Jesus. So even the holy men don't want him around. I say holy. Anyway, they're talking about the disciples, the chosen 12. There we go. I was going to say apostles again. Let's have a listen.
Also named apostles.
Apostle. Dirty named apostles. Why did he insist on that? And these were Simon called Peter. Call me Simon. I don't be Peter. There's already a Peter. And Andrew and James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew and Thomas, who doubted, didn't he? I don't think they mentioned that in this. Because he had his doubts, didn't he, Thomas? There's an apocryphal book, is that how you say it? Book of Thomas, isn't there? Which, in that, he recounts some of like Jesus's youth, because it like jumped in it from when he were born to when he were 12, and the book of Thomas, I think it's Thomas, talks of when he were younger, a kid picked on him or something, and he touched his head and the child fell dead. We're not having that in the Bible. That's what they said at the Council of Nicaea. Wingrace and Alvin and Theodore. That name, that rings a bell, and I can't think where from. Were they the Chipmunks? I don't know. I can't remember. James, the son of Thingamabob, and Simon the Canaanite. See, there's two Simons as well. You've got two Simons and two. No. Well, yeah. He called Simon Peter, but they already had a Peter. Did they? I can't remember. Or maybe there were two Simons. They called him Peter, not to confuse the two Simons. I don't know. And then Judas Iscariot. Right, so off they go. They're going to head into Jerusalem soon because Palm Sunday's coming up, and they've got to go to Yes, Alvin, Simon and Theodore, the chipmunks. There we go. Pardon me, what's happening here? Oh, what have we done there? What's this? Has he made wine come from the... oh no, there's rust. What did they think he'd made? Turned water into wine or something? I don't know. All right, look, somebody's forging weapons because the water's got rust in it. That's what he's saying there. Someone's forging weapons. So he knows something's up, does Lucius, that there's going to be a rebellion. And they're building, they're making weapons for their rebellion, which it's showing there, look. Judas Iscariot is in with them. And he says to him, does Judas, he says, we can get Jesus to help us. Basically, he's trying to get Jesus to join the rebellion against the Romans. Says, we can get him to help us, and he can smite the Romans for us, because I believe in him. And so just come and listen to him. So Barabbas says, okay, then, whatever. This will be a day to be remembered. It has seen the end of the rebellion. It will soon see whatever. In the end of Kenobi. Anyway, whatever. But he says, yes, okay, I'll go and listen to what he's got to say. That's what Barabbas says. But really he's saying, no, what we're going to do when Jesus comes into Jerusalem with his band, we'll sort of like come in with them to infiltrate Jerusalem. So we'll use them as a cover, basically. There you go, like that. Right. And then we get the intermission. So go and get some ice cream and all that stuff, and go to the loo, etc. Bring back intermissions. Bring back overtures. Bring back intermissions. Especially in long films. Entr'acte. It's got some music playing, obviously. Like that. Very biblical. Hey, how long does the intermission go on for? There we get in there. Oh, there we go. Right, so we're back with Vivica Linfors, and they're wondering what to do about these Jesus and his band and the rebels in the hills and all that stuff. But Jesus is going to arrive any minute now because it's Palm Sunday. All right. Jesus goes to visit his mother first, and he says, "I've got to go to Jerusalem." There we go. Oh, he's going to fix a chair. He's fixing a chair by use of a split diopter. So they've got to go to Jerusalem, and says, I have to go to Jerusalem. I will fix the chair when I come back. And she says, that chair will never be fixed. Besides, I'm coming with you. So she goes with them to Jerusalem. So we're in the final days of Jesus' life now, aren't we? We're getting there. So here we go. Here it is. Here's Palm Sunday is happening. Here we go. There's the palm fronds, laying them down at Jesus' feet on his donkey. Entering Jesus. And that's why donkeys have a cross on their backs, don't they? Their fur is in the shape of a cross because it's where Jesus sat. That's what they say. Oh dear. So there we go. They're putting the palms down. Palms a bit, because it's Palm Sunday. So only less than a week until he pops his clogs. Anyway, so here he is, and he goes to the temple. Is he going to cast them out of the temple now? I think I missed this bit as well. I think I got called away and I forgot to pause it. But Barabbas is there, causing his trouble. But then also they all start fighting. I think have they swapped the casting out of the moneylenders for the rebels in this bit? Looks like it, doesn't it? So there's a bit of fighting going on. Here we go, trying to take over the city, but the Romans are ready for them. Look, they're lining up. And so here we go. Archers, fire! And so they're all shooting at them. Could have done with longer ladders, couldn't they, really, to be completely honest, but never mind. They're not doing very well. I think Barabbas gets thrown off here, and luckily they're there to catch him. There we go. Good job they were there, weren't they? It's like, in wrestling, when they go throwing themselves over the ropes or off top of the turnbuckle. Luckily, there's usually a few people there to catch him. Anyway, they've got this big... Where's Josh Temple when we need him? They've got these massive harpoons that they're firing at him, look. That looked dangerous, didn't it? They'd actually fire that through that crowd. I'm sure it's on a wire or something. It looks to be, you can see it there, you can see the wire there. They'll be fine. It's probably made of foam or something, I don't know. Or maybe they're just extras. We can kill them. We can always get more extras, can't we? So they're doing all that, and eventually, obviously, the rebels are going to retreat or get killed or whatever. And I think Barabbas is captured here. There they are. Look, getting, march forward in rows of red, which is not what I was thinking when I wrote that song. By the way, if you're some members only on my channel, oh no, it's not members only now, is it? It's public. Me for King and Country song. Lining up in rows of red. I wasn't actually thinking of this, but never mind. So there we go. Everybody's dead, and Barabbas is going to get caught and thrown in the clink. Nope. Didn't see the line on his. Is he going to show it? There you can't see the line on his that the arrow's going to use. You'd think they'd play that backwards, wouldn't you? Have an arrow go into his leg. Obviously, it's not really, but you'd think they'd have an arrow there and pull it out, wouldn't you, really quickly, and do it that and play it backwards, but they don't. Boing, there we go. So he gets captured and thrown in prison. It looks like the same one that John the Baptist was in, I think. But anyway, so they're saying, what we're going to do, Barabbas has been caught and, we're losing and etc. And he's saying, no, look, Jesus will help us. He can call down hosts and destroy the fortress of Pilate. I think Judas Iscariot over-egging Jesus a bit here, don't you? But they're saying he preaches against violence. And then he says, I will call his hand, says Laurence Olivier. It's not Rip Torn, it's Laurence Olivier. There we go. I will force his hand, he says. Because he's a bad one. Except he's not. I don't know. He's doing what he thinks is best to get rid of the Romans, doesn't he? And, but anyway. But forcing his hand is what's going to be his downfall, Jesus' downfall, isn't it? He's going to sell him out to the Romans. Anyway, so the Last Supper time now. So they're ready for the Last Supper, and Jesus says, they're eating their bitter herbs and all that stuff. And he says, one of you will betray me. And it looks him directly in the eye. There you go. Tonight, one among you will betray me. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. And then he goes up to him. You. What you must do quickly. Go on, go betray me now. Get out. So off he goes. And then, why don't they get him? They say, you're not going to betray Jesus. We'll beat you up. No, they just let him go. And he's saying, Jesus, I must go now. When I go, you cannot follow. And they say, no, we will protect you. No, you can't. You will, Peter, you will deny me 3 times before the cock crows. He says, I won't. He will. And he does. Have another drinky. And he does. Anywho, so he's going to go to the Garden of Gethsemane, which is not a very nice garden, to be honest, but anyway. But he does this, they drink the wine, there we go, this bread is my body and all that stuff. They're becoming cannibals in a way, but and they drink the wine for this is my blood and all that stuff. There you go. So he's going to go off. That's the covenant, because he's going to shed his blood for man and all that stuff. So off he goes. There you go. There's Judas to betray Jesus for his, how many pieces? 20, 40? Can't remember. But they're heading out. Look, he looks evil there, doesn't he? They're trying to make out there's not this evil person in the film. He's just doing what he thinks is best. But then they show him there looking evil. Anyway, off he goes to the Garden of Gethsemane. the baddies will come and take him away, and he's doing his, basically he's having second thoughts about it, isn't he? He's Jesus. He says, why have I got to do this? But anyway. And he gets all sweaty for some reason. But anyway, they're coming to take him away. So, because he kisses, the man, I will kiss him on the cheek, and he's the one. So, right, so Jesus is in custody now. And, this is where they're asking Peter, you were with him, we saw you. He says, no, it wasn't me. And the third time we hear the cock crow. He even looks Jesus right in the eye, look. I am not a follower of this man, he says. Rooster crows. And then he runs off. But it's what he's got to do, hasn't it? Because he's got to... Because if he said he was one of Jesus's, they'd have killed him or whatever, or thrown him in prison, but he's got to go off and continue Jesus's ministry, hasn't he? He's got to go on his travels, building the church, I suppose. Right. So that's why he didn't do it out of, malice. It was his task, wasn't it, to go and carry on Jesus, spread the word and all that stuff. Anyway, so Jesus is off to trial now. Pontius Pilate is the prosecution, and Lucius is the defence. But obviously it's a bit of a kangaroo court, although Lucius does his best. He says, this man has done nothing wrong. But Pontius Pilate says, washes his hands of him, doesn't he? That's what he says. I wash my hands of you, and he says, take him to Herod. It's Herod's problem. It's one of Herod's people. Herod can deal with it. So, anyway, so that's what they're going to do. There you go. Defendant is accused of claiming to be the leader sent by their God. And he says, I've not said that at all. He doesn't defend himself. It's Lucius that does all the defending. But anyway. But it does say, so send him to Herod, and let Herod deal with him in any minute. There we go. That's what he says there. Send this man to Herod Antipas for judgment. So ordered by this court. Anyway, so it goes before Herod. Herod demands that he does a miracle. Don't ask him to walk across this swimming pool, as he does in Jesus Christ Superstar. But he asks him to turn that vase into gold, but it doesn't, obviously. So he said, send him away. He says he has puts a robe, puts a cloak on him. Is that the robe then? That becomes the robe from the film. It's another really good film with Richard Burton, Victor Mature. But he says, send this man, that's how he speaks. Send this man back to Pilate. He has displeased me. Anyway, so Pilate's getting fed up now with this Jesus fella. He's going to scourge him, make him confess to his crime. So this is the old Passion of the Christ stuff where they're flogging Jesus. She's basically saying, "Why are you doing this? Why are you so bothered about this man?" So I just am. She's Caesar's daughter. Didn't even know that. But anyway, they're flogging Jesus now because turn him. There he goes, all covered in his scars. So they're flogging him. It doesn't get as gruesome as Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ. Thank goodness. I've only seen that film once. That's enough for me. But Judas is looking on, thinking, "What have I done?" And you should think that, mate. What have I done? And he puts his hands on these spikes here, and cuts his hands up, and there we go, like that. So kind of gives himself stigmata, doesn't he? Like before the act, if you know what I mean. Anyway, they send him away. Say, "Go away." Right, so they're building the crosses. For some reason, Jesus gets a snazzy cross. Everybody else has to do with those like T-shaped ones, apart from Jesus and the two thieves. They've got snazzy crosses for some reason. Look, graffiti. So he's fed up now, is Judas. So anyway, there's Jesus with his robe. And they're going to make him the crown of thorns if he's the king of the Jews. The king needs a crown. They're all laughing, so they're going to give him. They're doing it now. There we go. They give him his crown of thorns and put a pot on his head as his crown as well. So mocking Jesus. Anyway, meanwhile, those two thieves are there. They say, "Why are we being crucified?" And Barabbas is laughing. "What are you laughing for? You're a murderer. We don't deserve to be crucified." But Barabbas is not going to die because they gloss over the fact that they did the. Barabbas just says, "I'm going. You're going to be set freed," because the crowd chose Barabbas over Jesus because they were given a choice, weren't they? And they picked Barabbas for some reason. And no mention of Wadwick or Wadney. But anyway. What about Brian? Yeah, that's a good one. But so there we go. He's being freed. So Jesus is dying in his place. So he's like, oh, crikey. But he goes anyway. Right, so Jesus, there we go. He's on his way. He's on the way to Golgotha now, or Calvary, whichever you want to call it. Off they go. Jesus carrying his. Jesus got a big, massive cross that he's got to carry, and the two thieves have just got the crossbar things. But Jesus got to carry his whole thing. Because it probably cost him. They're mocking him out there, but they're all watching him. But obviously, he doesn't make it all the way, and he collapses. There we go. And I think they said to this fella, I thought it was a Samaritan. That they say, "Come on, you pick that up. You carry it." There we go. Sirenate, whatever that says. Oh dear. For some reason, I always thought it was a Samaritan. But I know this is the story of the Good Samaritan, which is a different story, isn't it? But I always thought this one was as well, but never mind. So somebody else carries his cross for him. And they make it there, obviously, to Golgotha, outside Jerusalem. It was a cool matte painting, by the way. Cool matte painting. Who was this matte painting fella? So they're gonna, and so the crucifixion happens. No John Wayne in this one. That's the greatest story ever told. But I think they've glossed over the hammering. I think we just hear it. I think the hammering of nails into the hands. Do we? Maybe they do show it. I don't know. Or maybe they just gloss over that. I don't know. They're carrying him there. That man is dying in my place. Why should that be? I don't know. It just is. Anyway, yeah, they've glossed over the fact that he's nailed to the cross. And up he goes. And then he says, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And I did get a bit emotional. I always get a bit emotional at this bit, so bear with me if I get a bit lump in my throat. This is the thieves say, "Will we be in heaven?" And you will join me this day in paradise and all that. Is that his mother? Yes, that's Mary. And says, "Don't weep for me," and all that. Oh, and there they put the INRI symbol on. Iesu Nazareum Rex Judea, something like that, into Judeorum or something. Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. INRI. And he's fed up now, is Judas, so he's going to go off and hang himself in a minute. So there we go. So that's happened. And then the clouds gather, the thunder starts, and all that stuff. They're all unhappy. And I think Lucius says, this man. I think he says this man really is the Christ or something like that. Is it this bit? Yes, he truly is the Christ. I'm not sure what that means. But anyway. Because John Wayne said, "This man truly is the King of God." And there was that story, isn't there, about it, in The Greatest Story Ever Told, where the director said to John Wayne, "Can you put more awe into it?" So he went, "This man truly is the Son of God." Anyway, whatever. Oh dear. But that's not what ended up in the film. Anyway, so here they are. With their Shroud of Turin. Look, it's the Shroud of Turin that's going to go over Jesus. I'm going to take him down now. I think he's died now. He's done the Father, why do you? I can't bloody remember the line now. I'm blanking. Just before he dies. Come on. Any minute now. Hang on, is it that one? Is it that one?
Into your head.
Oh, not that bit. Anyway, it says that. Why do you forsake me? That's it. I'll tell you. Why do you forsake me? And then he dies, doesn't he? And they take him down. They don't show the spear of Longinus, or Longinus, however you pronounce it, stabbing him and the water of life coming out. They don't show that bit. They've glossed over that bit as well. But they take him down, put him into the there we go, into the holy sepulchre. So they put him in there underneath his shroud of Turin, and they roll a huge stone across to block the entrance. And then, but then I think it's Mary Magdalene sits by the thing as she wakes. So was it 3 days later? She wakes up. The stone has been rolled away. Jesus has gone. And she's like, "Oh crikey!" And then she sees him there walking away. And she says, "Have you seen Jesus?" And he turns around and it's him. But didn't he look different when he was, after the resurrection? I thought he looked different, but they knew it were him because of his way. Pardon me. But anyway, but he's been resurrected now. So, and he says, you join me, see me in Galilee and Jerusalem. Everybody will see me, and everybody saw him. Although he looked different, didn't he? For different people. So, but and there we go. And then they shall see. And then the film ends because that's the end, and it's showing the ascension because he does his ascension. Oh no, we haven't done yet because we're back at Galilee. And we've seen Peter and all that. Being fishermen again. And then Jesus' shadow, they're going off to start their churches. And then Jesus' shadow appears and forms a cross for us to fade to black on. That was Gandalf the White, says Winggrace, yes. Yeah, that's what they call me. Gandalf the Grey. Anyway, I've got muted it. Anyway, so there we go. And there we go. That was the film ends there. The film ends. There we go. King of Kings, presented by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. And then we get exit music. Just do that again. So they don't have credits. Just have a thing that says exit music. Get out. That's what they're telling people. Exit music. Cool. And there we go. That's the end of King of Kings. Is it, really good. I like this one better than Greatest Story Ever Told. Because I think Greatest Story Ever Told were a little bit more gritty, wasn't it, in its look. Max von Sydow's great and all that, but I do prefer this one. But I do like me biblical and historical epics. I love me Ten Commandments and The Robe and Demetrius and the Gladiators and what else I'm thinking of now. The Bible with John Huston. Is it John Huston? Is it Noah? But yeah, love me a biblical epic. But there we go. So that's the end of King of Kings, and it's it's well worth a look. I don't know if it's on. Let me check. Hang on, I have to get rid of that. Bear with me. I can't remember if I said it were on Amazon and all that stuff. Let me check. Where are we? Where have I put it? There we go. Ooh, it's over here. Oh no, I haven't put if it's on Amazon or YouTube. I'm sure it is. I didn't check. It didn't seem right to be for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway. So there we go. That's the end of King of Kings. A good Easter movie about Jesus. Got to admit, I have said to somebody today, "Happy Zombie Jesus Day." I'm going to burn in hell. I know. I'm not very religious, but I do like, biblical epic films. I don't know. Maybe I'm a closet religious person and just haven't owned up to it inside. Who knows? But anyway, so we'll leave it there. We're all done and dusted. So that's it for this special Easter episode of Magnificent Sundays. That's what we call it. I rattled through that quick, didn't I? An hour and 16 minutes for a 2.75 hour film. Resurrection is different from animate dead. Yeah, it was, he said, she said. You say tomato, I say tomato. Anyway, it's just a joke. I'm sure Jesus would have laughed at it. He had a sense of humour, didn't he? At least in fantasy games. Right, so trivia. Try and remember me trivia stuff that I've noted. Not only was Jeffrey Hunter's chest hair shaved, hang on, I haven't done yet. The crucifixion scene had to be reshot because a preview audience was offended at Jesus having a hairy chest. And there we go. Not only was Jeffrey Hunter's chest hair shaved for the crucifixion scene, but his underarms as well. I must admit, I wasn't paying attention. So much attention has been paid to this situation over the past 50 years that nobody's ever noticed Hunter also wears a false putty nose throughout the film. Oh, I never noticed either. Most evident in the close-ups at the crucifixion scenes. I never noticed that he had a putty nose. Jeffrey Hunter and Robert Ryan's car broke down on the way to the Sermon on the Mount scene in costume as Jesus Christ and John the Baptist. They had to John the Baptist wasn't even there. They had to push the car to get it started. Maybe the car started up and they go, it's a miracle. Anyway. Ray Bradbury wrote the narration but was uncredited. Never done that one. Orson Welles insisted on pronouncing the word apostles with a hard T. Wingray says Jesus would have flipped your table, much as he did with the money changers in the temple. Robert Ryan was keen to work with Nicholas Ray, the director, but was more keen on the payday of $50,000 for just a week's work, and that's in 1960, when it was filmed. Costing $7 million, this was the most expensive film of 1961, tied with El Cid of that year. Richard Burton. Oh, so right, yeah, I knew Richard Burton was mentioned. Richard Burton was originally offered the part of Jesus. He previously performed as Marcellus in The Robe. I love The Robe; it's a great film. In Ben-Hur, 1959, Frank Thring played Pontius Pilate, who tried Jesus and condemned him to crucifixion. Imagine him saying that. In this film, Thring plays Herod Antipas, who condemned John the Baptist and later questioned Jesus before returning him to Pilate. What else? What else have we got? The dialogue in the scene in Herod's palace between him, his wife Herodias, and her daughter Salome concerning the incarceration of John the Baptist, leading to her dance, at the end of which she asks for his head on a silver salver, is taken verbatim from Oscar Wilde's 1894 play, Salome, rather than any scriptural source, though it goes uncredited. And finally, a bit of history. There's no evidence in either scripture or extra-biblical historical sources that Herod Antipas had a role in his father Herod the Great's death, as is shown early in the film. It is known, however, that Antipas did not inherit his father's entire kingdom upon the latter's death. In his will, the elder Herod divided his kingdom among three sons, Archelaus, I don't know how to pronounce it, ruling Judea and Samaria, Antipas ruling Galilee and Perea, and Philip ruling Iturea and Trachonitis. Each son needed permission from Rome to claim his inheritance. Archelaus's, I'm probably mispronouncing it, misrule of his portion of Herod the Great's kingdom resulted in the Roman Emperor Augustus banishing him and turning Judea with Samaria into a Roman province in AD 6, governed by a prefect who was supervised by the Roman legate of Syria. prefects had the power to appoint and depose the Jewish high priest and managed to enrich themselves in the process, as the office was bought and sold, which negatively impacted the high priest's reputation in the eyes of the Jews. There we go. Anyway, yeah, I think Archelaus, his kingdom ended up being ruled by Antipas as well. I think that's what happened. So there we go. Anyway, right. So we're all done and dusted. This Easter Sunday. What's coming up next? Tomorrow on Easter Monday, we're doing a James Bond film for Magnificent Mondays. We're doing Goldfinger, the quintessential James Bond film, the third Bond film, starring Sean Connery, and it's a cool flick. On Wednesday, I'll be doing top 5 films of. Is it 92? We're up to. I think it's 92. Not gonna sketch Jesus. No, I did a sketch of Jesus a while ago. Well, a few years ago. I wasn't very happy with it. See if I can find it. I'll show you it. If I can find it. Okay. When are we drawings? And I have them in alphabetical order. Or are they in? I'll just put it in alphabetical order. Sort by name. Because I think it's called Jesus. I think. Where is it? I've gone past it. There it is. There's my picture of Jesus I did. Now, black and white or thingy. Yeah, I wasn't happy with it. He's got hairs under his arms. Hang on, there we go. My sketch I did of Jesus. When did I do that? 5 years ago. April 2020. So there we go. Anyway. Right. What was I saying? Friday, on next Friday, for Friday Night Appointment with Fear, we're doing the Blackwater, just Blackwater Vampire found footage film. So I'm looking forward to that. Right, so we will leave it there. Yes, it was a pandemic Jesus, because that was that time, wasn't it? Right, we'll leave it there. So we're all done and dusted. So thanks, Wingrace, and thanks, Justin, 34, for keeping me company on this Easter Sunday. You didn't have to. You should have been with your families on Easter, for crying out loud. Not listening to me waffling on. But anyway. Right, we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching, wherever you are. Have a happy Easter, the rest of it. Don't eat too much chocolate. I haven't had any. I really wanted some as well. Look, I'll go tomorrow. I'll go shopping tomorrow. And with a bit of luck, there'll be some Easter eggs on sale, won't there? Anyway. So thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other. And until next time, I'll see you.